Start.
How are you? Oh, it's live now. Hi, Ruchi. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Niti, for inviting me.
Thanks for taking the time to join this live session today. Today we're talking about D&I at the workspace. And obviously, there's no one better than you with the experience that you have, the awards that you've received. There's a lot that you've done in this space. So thanks for joining our live session today. So for the introduction, this is Ruchi Bhatt. We have Ruchi Bhatia here today, who is an IIMC alumni and the founder of HR Gurukul. She advises and mentors startups and companies on HR tech, HR recruitment, digital branding, OD, L&D, and performance management. So Ruchi has a lot of background in the DNI space. She's previously worked with IBM. She's received a lot of awards, specifically the 40 under 40 HR Women Award, and she is currently also an ambassador at some of these organizations. So I'll let Ruchi talk about her background, her experience, and what she likes about being in this space specifically.
Thank you, Niti, for that generous introduction. I have been in the industry for over 2 decades, so it's a matter of that I started 2 decades earlier. I've been able to do a lot of good work with a lot of reputed clients and earn recognition and awards for my work. Now, I spent almost 12 years at IBM in different roles in HR and talent management, and then I started my own company called HR Gurukul, which is more of a community of 200 plus HR and recruitment leaders. And it's a WhatsApp based community. We interact, and there is very high engagement on different issues related to HR, diversity, and other challenges that are happening at workplace. And we try to find out solutions, support each other. So it's a peer based learning and support network, you can say. And
Mhm.
in HR Gurukul, I am also advising companies on HR tech consulting and implementation. So that is a work that I've very recently started reaching out to customers who are looking for a consulting and advisory, because there are so many HR tech products in the market and they might not have visibility to which is the best product in the context of their organization. So that is an area I'm venturing into, and it's very exciting. A lot of good work to be done already. Having spent 2 decades in the industry, there is always something new. I keep on reinventing myself. So this is a work which is an area which I'm looking forward to make a mark and progress my career into.
Very interesting. But before we jump into our main questions on DNI, Ruchi, I have a question for you. What made you switch from, a stable or a more, a recognized job at IBM to starting your own with the HR Gurukul?
So very good question. I think I always have that entrepreneurship mindset. Even in 2012, I was given an offer to leave my very cushy, stable job at IBM and become a co-founder at a startup. The guy was based out of Mumbai. He was already running a digital marketing agency, and he identified that potential in me probably quite early on in 2012. But at that time I wasn't willing to let go of my stable job. I said no, I need to spend more years in IBM and gain more experience before I start something on my own. And then when the time came, I grabbed the opportunity. I said that okay, enough of the corporate experience. I always have this entrepreneurship mindset, and to do my own startup, being my own boss, and the kind of flexibility it offers to you, because then you are not kind of you essentially do your own routine. You essentially decide what are the priorities and deliverables for you, and you take a call that okay, this is the kind of work that I want to do, these are the kind of clients that I want to work with, these are the people that I want to work with. And that flexibility and kind of authority I really like. So I shifted from IBM to HR Gurukul.
Wow, so this was a very well planned move. I think from a long time you had that entrepreneurial mindset or the spirit to move. So I think you've planned it enough. Cool. So jumping directly into our question, what exactly is workspace diversity and why today it has become so important?
So, workplace diversity is something which is a buzzword or catchphrase nowadays. Most of the employers want to be seen as very diversity friendly companies and organizations. Workplace
Mm-hmm.
diversity is nothing but a term used for the workplace, which is composed of employees with varying degree of characteristics such as sex, gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation. In the Indian context, it would be people from different caste and different backgrounds. A company
Yeah.
with the workplace diversity is the company who has employees with wide range of characteristics and experiences, and a diverse workforce is more likely to understand the customer needs and be able to come up with the ideas that fulfill them. So there are enough research in the in
Industry.
HR space which
Yeah.
says that companies which have diverse employees and diversity, they are more innovative. Companies uh, are able to fulfill the customer demands much more better if they have diversity in their workplace, and it
Mhm.
employs enhances the employee morale and motivation also, and instill a desire to be more effective and work more efficiently. So it also increases the productivity of your business in that sense.
Super. So I think you've already answered my second question was what value does diversity bring to an organization? But you've already answered that it increases the morale, the motivation, you can support your customers better. So I think you've already answered most of my question. But is there anything more that you would like to add? What more does it bring to the
So,
table? Like what more can diversity do?
I
And
think
why is
diversity
it so important?
is a business imperative now. A diverse workplace is an important asset to the organization because it recognizes the individual strengths of the different employees, and valuing the difference of different employees is ultimately what brings us all together, right? There is some things which
Yeah.
you may be good at, there are some things which I may be good at, and if we value that differences and that kind of diversity, be it in terms of thought also, so
Yeah.
even diversity of thought is also a very, very key, valuable driving force to become a diverse workplace. So I think that is how you make sure that that is the secret to a successful, thriving workplace and a fair work culture where people, irrespective of their backgrounds, have the similar access to the similar kind of opportunities and be at their best.
And yeah, you brought out some good points there. But how is diversity different from inclusion? Because most of the time we talk about it together, diversity and inclusion. It
Right.
just means including the people who are from the diverse background. What is the basic difference?
So there is a quote which I really like to make the distinction between diversity and inclusion. So diversity is being invited to the party while inclusion is being asked to dance, which means that inclusion comes first and diversity comes later. That, to my mind,
Mhm.
I think that is how it is, right? Because unless you have a inclusive culture, even though you may hire diverse people, they might
Yeah,
not remain, or you will not be able to retain those diverse people in your organization because you kind of have a very homogeneous culture, and your
yeah,
employees do not feel valued or included or in part of decision making process, so it will be very, very difficult to retain them. So I think build for inclusion first and hire for diversity later. That would be my motto to the
yeah.
audiences who are joining us.
So unless you change the mindset that you want to include the people with a diverse background, diverse thoughts, you cannot just go and hire diverse people and then leave them outside of your party or your organization or your conversations or your
Right.
meeting, right? So it's also about a lot of inclusion mindset that you need. So do
That
you think from employees' perspective, it's more challenging to work in a diverse environment?
So it really depends in terms of what is the value proposition you are offering to the employees, right? So do you, as an employer, advertise yourself and say that, hey, come join us because we offer you very diverse kind of environment where you have the opportunity, say, to collaborate with different colleagues across the globe, and that comes with experience, right? Because initially employees may face that, okay, he's not like me or she's not like me,
Mm.
and she's very
Yeah.
different from me, and how do we collaborate, how do we work together as a team? But if the environment and the culture in the organization is that, yes, let's bring together everyone on the board and then leverage each other's strength and celebrate that diversity, right? Celebrate those differences, then employees find it is a lot more productive way of working in a team, because as mentioned earlier as well, the kind of skill set, the kind of mindset, the kind of tool set that I'll bring with myself will be very different from somebody who is coming from a very different background, right? It is the kind background and experiences that are cherished and celebrated in the organization. And at least in IBM, I can proudly say my experience in IBM, we were from different geographies, different regions, so there were nuances of cultural diversity also. And you learn a lot when you work in
Diverse cultures, diverse
which
background.
yes, which in organizations which value and put a lot of emphasis on diversity and inclusion. So they both go, diversity and inclusion both go hand in hand. You cannot have diversity and not have inclusion, or you cannot build it for inclusion without hiring for diversity or without making your workplace diversity inclusive. So I think these are both parallel tracks which go hand in hand.
Right, exactly. So, what are some of the strategies or tips that you could give from your experience to employers who are looking to build a diverse workforce? You know, they
As I
said, okay,
said,
yeah, we want to go in this direction. What should they do?
so as I said, that build for inclusion first. That is something that all the leaders, at least, because it is driven always from the top, right? Diversity and inclusion is a top leadership agenda and has to be a top leadership agenda. All the leaders must believe that yes, if we talk specifically about gender diversity to bring more women in the workplace, we are seeing a lot of trends that after pandemic or because of the pandemic, many women lost their jobs, and they were very adversely affected because of pandemic as compared to men, right? And the
Right.
women workforce labor participation is going down. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
we need to have specialists and resources dedicated to just make sure that gender diversity agenda is a top leadership agenda. It is a part of the CEO and boardroom discussions. There are matrices in place which we should be able to measure from time to time and see the progress. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult, because what is everybody's job is nobody's job, right? So you have to assign specialist to make sure that you are hiring for a diverse workforce. And in terms of your hiring strategies, you can come up with the plans that okay, we will not go to only these top 10 campuses. If we are talking about campus hiring, we will also look beyond these top 10 campuses. We'll also recruit from, say, five more other campuses, because that brings in diversity, right? So
Yeah.
terms of the kind of sources, sourcing your candidates, if we talk about talent acquisition, there is sourcing strategy you need to put in place, that okay, these are the different sources we will hire from, and that will ensure that we have a diverse pool of candidates from different backgrounds who we would be able to retain in the long term, because our culture is inclusive. So these are some of the tips and strategies, especially with respect to campus hiring I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
then if you want to mid-level and senior level hiring, again, you have to make sure that you are not hiring people just who are like you are
Mm.
looking beyond, beyond the what I would say, the templates that are there. You have
Yeah.
to be open to at least have discussion and interviews with the candidates, get to know about them. And then, because lot of discrimination happens at the hiring stage itself, right? Even in tech sector, if we talk about
Yes.
many a times, if it is a gender, I mean, if it is a women candidate, if it, automatic assumptions are made that for example, women in sales role, automatic the assumption is made that no, she will not be able to perform in our
Travel.
organization because it requires travel and she'll not be able to travel, and she has two kids and babies. And so a lot of assumptions, lot of unconscious conscious biases come into foray. And we need to be, take care of all of these. Gender sensitization trainings is one method by which you can ensure that your managers, leaders, and employees are not putting in these discrimination at the time of hiring, or even at the time of promotion also. So there are many tips and strategies which I can
Okay.
articulate that
Right.
company should follow. Yeah.
So now that we have understood from you, what diversity and inclusion mean, it all seems so easy. So what do you think is the biggest struggle, or what is the difficulties these companies are facing to implement these DNI initiatives?
I think on paper or on talks like these, everything looks easy. But when you
Very
get down to doing business, then you actualize that okay, these are the real challenges, and for practical reasons, all the right reasons that they may incur during the course of their journey when they want to become diversity friendly and you know or an employer which is much more diversity friendly. So one of the practical challenges which I see more or less is not having the right data, right? Because that data is the beginning, the starting point for anything, because what you cannot measure, you cannot
yeah.
you cannot
Improve.
progress on it, you cannot improve,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
having the right data in terms of who are our key diversity employees, and how do we make sure that their progression in the organization happens and they
Mhm.
are given access to opportunities, be it mentoring, be it job shadowing, be it pairing with the senior leaders, because
Mhm.
they can then learn the ropes of the leadership faster from the senior leaders. So leaders building leaders concept is something which I have seen happening very well in an organization like IBM. So having not having access to data is one of the challenge. Then very it is the society, right? I mean, what we the attitudes that we carry at our home and in society we bring to the
Yes,
workplace, right? So
absolutely.
overall, at least now we see that anything which comes in Bollywood, right, it becomes a trend or a fashion. So now we are seeing movies being made on feminist topics or feminist
Yes.
subjects. But many
Yeah.
a times this feminism, because people see that women get extra privilege or advantage, it is not like that. Women get
Yes.
selected because of the meritocracy, because they have merit as a candidate, and that is why that women got selected for any key role or any promotion that she was deserving of. So many a
Yeah.
times I see it was working counterproductive, because people see that women are getting all the celebrations, Women Day celebrated in our
Women's
organization.
Day.
Yes, and it sometimes it works counterproductive, right? The men folks feel ignored, and they see that okay, organization is always celebrating gender diversity, and we are, but it is not like that,
Yeah.
because traditionally speaking, women have dual roles to play, right? At
Yeah.
household, they are the primary caretakers of kids, children, or elderly care.
Yeah.
So obviously, many companies have now institutionalized programs like coming back to workplace. So there are three M's which affect women's career, right? Maternity, mobility, and marriage. Or starting with starting with
Yeah.
marriage, mobility,
Yeah.
and maternity. Because
Yeah.
if you get married, then mostly the decision is that okay, wherever my spouse will get transferred to, I'll have to move my career
Yes.
or to that city or that location. So it is always women who is tagged to the man's career, and her priorities or her career are taken as a backseat. But it is changing a lot now. We are seeing a lot of changes in the society. So people are also becoming more open. Societal attitudes are also becoming more open. Recently, I read a report that India has the highest number of women pilots in the world, which is a
Yes.
great accomplishment, right? I
Yes.
mean,
Two
for
times more than America. Yeah.
exactly, as compared to any other country. So how did that happen? If it can happen in the as sensitive
Space.
sector, airlines, and very
Yeah.
challenging job, right? As women, flying planes, it can happen. It must be replicated in other sectors also, right? Then BFSI is
Exactly.
sector where you see a lot of women doing very well in the BFSI sector. IT sector is another organization, but still today, if we talk in terms of the numbers, at the entry level there would be like 30% representation. By the time they reach mid level, it drops down to 15%, and at CXO level it is just 3 or 4%. So we
Correct.
need to make sure that there are very more number of women who are in the leadership positions in CXO levels. They are given the leadership opportunities and sponsorship also, and so that that trickle down effect can occur. And that leaky pipeline of women leaders, that we have to fix that. So once
Yes.
we are able to fix that leaky pipeline of middle women leaders, because as I said that during marriage and maternity, women tend to break out of workforce or drop out of workforce. And now companies are also becoming open that okay, even if no matter you had 2 years career break because of your maternity or because of your attending to children or family reasons, we are more than welcoming you to let you
Come
give
back.
this opportunity to come back to our company, to come back to the organization, join the workforce, and then because women are no less in terms of their ambitions, aspirations, or competence, I would say.
The other thing I think we also want to do is look at skilling, because there's a lot of lack of skills as well in this diversity group, that prevents more and more women to go back to the workspace. Especially if they've worked and then they leave work for a few years, 5 years, 10 years,
Right.
then the skilling part is what is missing for them to come back into the workforce as compared to other groups. Also, skilling in the lower incomes segment is a bigger challenge for women to access that, or get free access to skilling or training that can provide them more jobs. So, getting into the workspace, as well as the leaky pipeline that you talked about, women leaving and then coming back after a few years after the break, both those areas I think are lacking a lot of skilling initiatives as well.
I'm glad you mentioned about skilling, and I think the onus should be both on the, so employers are also doing. I see many organizations who are very open to welcoming women back to their workforce.
Yeah.
Access Bank is one of them, Accenture, GE, Genpact, IBM, Infosys, Cognizant. So all these top-rated companies, they are launching several initiatives and programs to hire women back into the workforce. And it should be that the owners, individual women, should also take owners. So while they are away from the workforce, or from very demanding jobs, or their career, even during their career break, if they can attend and regularly reskill themselves, right, that would uh, give that signals to the employer that yes, I have been away from the workplace, but I have also invested in building these additional skills, right? So that onus of career development should be both on the part of the employer as well as on the individuals. So, to individuals who are watching us live, my recommendation to all the women, especially if you're talking about gender diversity, that please keep on reinvesting in your skilling. And there are many free courses, many platforms which enable you for skilling, networking, mentoring. I am ambassador for VAs, Women in Technology,
Yeah.
and they also offer very valuable courses. And for next week, in the spirit of celebrating Independence Day, they have made all of their courses free. So go check out them on the LinkedIn, on their website, VAs, and you would be able to participate and log in and develop your skills in different areas.
Super. So, and also our website www.queen.in has a lot of opportunities. We are working with a lot of companies like AU Bank, Access, Amazon, Kotak, and they have a lot of return to work programs, second career options. Other than the part-time work from home jobs, there are these big programs that we are running with these organizations. So do look at our website for these opportunities if you are looking to come back in the workforce. Also, if you are an employer and are looking to get into diversity hiring, we can help you with your needs. We have a huge pool of resources. We have over 1 lakh women on our community who are looking for these opportunities. So do look on our website for more and more opportunities that we update on a very regular basis, in fact, daily basis. So um, if
Fantastic.
there are any questions, we'll be happy to take them. But Ruchi, any questions from you yourself?
Uh, I am very pleased to hear that Queen is a platform where you are working in to put more women back into workforce through access to opportunities, and you are working with some really very good clients. So, in
Yes.
case, as you mentioned, that any of the employers side they want to engage with you, they can definitely reach out to you. I am also accessible on LinkedIn for diversity hiring or doing diversity workshops. I can be contacted, and I'll be the more happy to work with companies and more number of people who are interested in this space.
Super. So we will connect again at a later stage with you, Ruchi. But if there are no more questions, thank you everyone for your time today. Hopefully, you find this session useful and we get you get to connect with you at a later stage again. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good weekend, a very long weekend, and happy Independence Day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you
Ruchi.
for inviting me. Yeah. Bye bye. Have a good day.
Thanks, bye.